I've been an Apple Watch user for many years now. In fact, since 2015, when the very first Apple Watch came out, I have worn an Apple Watch every single day for almost 10 years. I track my workouts, I track my sleep, I look at text notifications, I make phone calls, I listen to music. I do basically everything an Apple Watch can do. But recently, after almost 10 years, I decided, I wonder if there's a better smartwatch for me when it comes to some fitness tracking, better battery life, maybe some better features, maybe different styling. And so I went ahead and bought the Garmin Fenix 8. And I'm pretty blown away by this device. But this video is going to tell you why after 7 days using this watch, I don't think I can leave the Apple ecosystem. And I want to tell you the many reasons why I'm keeping my Apple Watch Ultra and saying goodbye to the Fenix 8. Hopefully this video will be helpful if you are a person that is currently an Apple Watch user thinking about leaving that ecosystem and going with something like the Garmin, or potentially you don't have either one and you're deciding which one is right for you. I will hopefully answer the question on both sides of those and why I think this might be the best for most people, but there is a very good niche for this one as well. So for the sake of this video, what I'm going to talk about is, as an iPhone user, what are some of the key features that I just could not get used to with the Garmin, and what kind of made me switch back to just deciding the Apple Watch is absolutely the best one for me. So first off, the number one thing I loved about this watch is that it just is a gorgeous, beautifully aesthetic watch. It looks just like a watch. It feels like a watch. I love the round face. I love the silver around it. I like the buttons. It just looks great. I wish the Apple Watch Ultra actually looked like this, because I personally think this is a better looking watch in every aspect than the Ultra. Now, some people may disagree, but just from an aesthetic perspective, I think the Garmin looks phenomenal, and I prefer that this was actually the Apple Watch. Another great feature that I wish the Ultra had was the battery life. This thing has over a week of battery life. You can do even longer if you're not using it with GPS on a regular basis, but you would charge this once in an entire week and you'll see the battery life just rarely ever goes down, and that's awesome. I sleep with the Apple Watch Ultra and I also wear it all day, and so I usually charge it every other day and sometimes just for about a half hour or so. So the battery life is very good on the Ultra, but nothing compared to the Garmin devices. I also really loved the actual LED flashlight on this watch. Now, the Apple Watch Ultra has a flashlight, but it basically just makes the screen bright, and that's the flashlight, which works great in darkness, but it's not as nice as like a legit light. I really think this is cool. You also can change it to a red light. I'm someone that uses a flashlight a lot on my watch, and so this is actually kind of a nice feature. The fitness tracking on this thing is awesome. I absolutely love the whole Garmin Connect app that really just shows you a little bit of everything going on. I really personally like the body battery a lot. It's the first time ever using a Garmin, and people have told me about that body battery before, and who knows if it's actually accurate and valuable, but it is kind of something that was addicting to look at, to see like where's your body battery at, and to see how a good night's sleep would charge back up that body battery and be able to tell you like when you're ready for some fitness stuff. So that is something that is actually kind of nice, being able to kind of just see all that and have all that accessible. I also really liked the ability to actually have like a touch-free UI if you wanted to. So on the Apple Watch, everything is a tap because it's basically fully touchscreen except for the little scroll wheel on the side, and you kind of just have to always be tapping it. You can actually turn off the touch capability on this if you choose, and then just use everything by the dials only. Now you may be saying to yourself, why would that be convenient? But where it is convenient is when you are dealing with water activities or sweat, because you don't have to worry about it not picking up your fingerprint correctly. And I also liked it because I'm just weird and OCD about fingerprints, and I liked the fact that I would just always have the touch interface off and always just use the wheel to navigate through stuff. And I liked that I never was actually touching the watch, because then it just kept the screen nice and free of touches. So that was kind of nice. But then that kind of goes into the negative side of things, which is where when you have the touch interface up and you see these really nice little widgets that are actually on the watch, if I just go to like tap on a widget to naturally to go to something, it doesn't take you there. It just kind of shows you status. So if I wanted to go to weather, I can't just tap on that weather thing that says the weather. I have to go to the weather app, and then I'm on the weather app, and then I can scroll through and do what I want on it. But like, I like being able to just go to it right here. Now, that's not one of the reasons why I'm switching back to the Apple Watch Ultra, but just something worth pointing out that like it seemed kind of strange to me that you had widgets, but you really couldn't access them. You just could see things from them. So I really liked the battery life, really liked the design. I really liked the body battery. All the fitness stuff was outstanding. The sleep tracking was really, really good. The flashlight is really, really unique, and it just was a watch that I actually really enjoyed wearing. Besides those things, that's where the Garmin Fenix ends. You see, when you get really used to an Apple Watch and get used to all the amazing features of an Apple Watch, specifically tied to your Apple iPhone in the Apple ecosystem, it's really hard to have anything else that doesn't do those same things. So here are some of the things that I do nonstop on my watch that I could not do on the Fenix 8 that ended up being really the reason why it's just not going to work for me. Number one would be text messages. Of course, the most common thing that happens on my phone throughout the day would be text messages of some sort, whether I'm sending them or receiving them. You see, the Garmin 8 can receive those text messages, but it can't reply. It can't do a tap back like thumbs up or a thumbs down, which I do all the time. When I get a text message, I like to be able to know that I also already saw that text message if I'm on my watch. Well, if it shows up here, the iPhone doesn't actually notice that it saw it here, so it also still says it's unread when I get back to my phone, which then makes me have to just pay attention again to the message, which I didn't need to. Not having text messages on this thing has been a massive nuisance because I have to grab my phone and then text someone back. The second thing that I do a ton is I like to be able to quickly set reminders for myself. I'm someone that does a lot of different things and I forget certain times what I was even doing or what I need to do. I constantly lift my wrist throughout the day and set reminders because it makes it convenient because I have a little assistant that can help me do that. Reminders, calendar invites, quick alarms, timers, stopwatches, all that stuff that are so quick and easy to access on here just are not possible or very bulky and slow to do on the Fenix 8. Now, the next thing will make some people say, well, you're just too obsessed with the Apple ecosystem, and you may be right, but there are something called Apple Fitness rings that if you've been a part of the Apple ecosystem for a long time, and if you are an Apple Watch user for a long time, you know that those rings, those stand reminders, and the rings at the end of the day, closing those freaking rings just feels good. You ain't closing no rings on that. And you can't even compete with your friends that are doing it. So I like having competitions regarding like fitness because it keeps you in shape and it makes you kind of feel like you're in a fun competition. You can't close any rings. And I've been closing rings for years and years and years, and I have 10 years almost worth of like history to look back on, and all these previous things of like fastest 1 mile, fastest 2 miles, fastest 5K, whatever, all these different things, move streaks, all this stuff that's in there. You're like starting from scratch and you can't even add to it. That's been huge. I love the rings. They really motivate me to keep moving, and not having those rings has been tough. Because then you look at your rings on your phone in the fitness app and you look like you've been doing absolutely nothing, which kind of sucks. You gotta have them rings. And speaking of fitness and working out and running and doing all that kind of stuff, the Garmin Fenix 8 doesn't have cellular. And I'm a person that loves having cellular on my watch. I've talked about this in many other videos before. You may want to check those out. But being able to run with just the watch and AirPods is awesome because you don't have to carry a phone with you. You get to still listen to your music and stream music just the way you're used to. You get to keep all your health track. You get to have all the GPS doing everything it's supposed to be doing. Have a great workout, but not have to carry your phone around. You have to carry your phone around with this if you want to do anything else other than just fitness track. Of course, you could just go on a run with the Fenix 8, but you don't have music unless you have your phone with you or something else that you have synced to music. And that just doesn't work for me either because I want that cellular. I want to be able to leave my phone somewhere and not have to worry about the connection from my phone. There are also times that I forget to bring my phone somewhere and I suddenly hop in the car and don't have my phone with me. Well, I can still use my Apple Watch and still call people and still text people and still Slack people and do all that kind of stuff Conveniently, because this has its own cell plan, that's a really convenient thing you get used to as well, that once you get used to it, there are many times in just the 1 week that I had this that I didn't have my phone nearby, and I went to go do something on it and realized that I couldn't even access those things. Big deal. And one of the things that also is just, I think, sometimes underestimated is just how smooth and how good the user interface is on the Apple Watch. Because being able to quickly tap widgets and just go to things and move around very quickly by just tapping on it or scrolling between your apps or quickly looking at your widgets for all the different stuff happening, your weather widgets, your calendar widgets, everything, you can see how just quick and easy it is to fly around the Apple Watch and create workouts and change notifications. It's just fast and smooth, where everything just seems kind of slow on the Fenix 8, which obviously I know it's kind of a different audience to a point. It's really more of a fitness watch, so I understand it, but as someone who wanted to potentially try to see if that would work better for me, those things just become a big deal when compounded. Because when you can't reply to text messages, when you can't do Siri reminders, and you can't do your Apple Fitness, and you can't quickly just access all the things that you want to access, it's just a big deal. Another feature I desperately missed about the Apple Watch, I didn't even realize I used it as much as I did until I didn't have it, was being able to turn on Do Not Disturb on your devices from your watch. So if I head into a meeting or I suddenly am working and I want to have Do Not Disturb, being able to just go turn on Do Not Disturb and it syncs across all your devices instantly, and then you're in Do Not Disturb in them all, and then when you're done being in Do Not Disturb, being able to just change that and all your devices change as well. That's really convenient, because throughout the day I constantly do change my actual focus modes, as Apple calls them, on a regular basis, depending on whether I'm in a meeting or if I don't want to be distracted and I'm working, whatever it is. I love being able to just turn them on from my watch and it syncs across my devices. On here, I can't do that. I can make the watch Do Not Disturb, but it doesn't change the other devices when I do that. So that's something kind of really valuable that I never realized was so valuable until I didn't have it. I also have a Ford vehicle that has a Ford app connected to my phone, so it can show me like my charge status on my vehicle, and I can change the climate on and off, and I can turn on heated seats and all that, and that's all really nice and also works really, really well conveniently on my watch. And that app doesn't exist on the Garmin either, so got to do that all through my phone. So as you can see, there are just a bunch of things that quickly add up to being a totally different experience when it comes to the convenience of having an Apple Watch. In conclusion, I think it really comes down to this simple thing. If you're an iPhone user, most likely the best watch you ever can have for your iPhone is going to be an Apple Watch. Now, if for some reason you just don't like the look of the Apple Watch, you don't like the models, you want something that has much better battery life, and you want something that is even more designed for fitness, then a Fenix 8 is something that would be a great option for you. If this is your first smartwatch ever, and you've never had an Apple Watch, you probably would love this, because you wouldn't necessarily know about some of those things you're missing. But if you're a person that currently has an Apple Watch, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to leave this ecosystem because of just the many conveniences that you get. I guarantee the number one thing that people do with an Apple Watch is respond to text messages, and that is the number one thing that you can't do on here for an iPhone. And that in general might be too hard for anyone to actually get rid of, because that's the most common thing people do on their phone throughout the day. Now, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe you don't want to get text messages and you don't really want to worry about being able to be notified by them. Then this might be a great option for you. But for me, I think for now, I'm going to stick with the Apple Watch Ultra, because I need to send my texts, I need my reminders, I need Slack notifications and reminders, I need those Apple Fitness rings, I need that LTE, I need that smooth UI, I need all that stuff. And yeah, maybe I'm an Apple fanboy, but most likely if you're watching this, you probably are too, which is why you're considering whether it makes sense to switch. I'm here to probably give you the easy answer and say, you're probably not going to like it over there. Thanks for watching.